Time for the iRules labs. So let's get started. For the iRules lab, we're going to start by creating a pool. So let's go to local traffic, pools, and create. For this pool, I will call it pool 1. IP address will be 172.16.20.1. We're going to leave all services. So select all services and add, and then click finished. We'll add a second pool, and I will call it pool 2. IP address will be 172.16.20.2. And once again, we'll also use all services and click add, and then finish. All right, and then we'll create one more pool. And if you guess pool 3, you are correct. IP address 172.16.20.3. And all services. We'll click add and then finish. Now we'll navigate to iRules and iRule list. We'll create. I'll name it rule underscore txt underscore end. Okay, so if you want to follow along, you could just go back to this slide in the beginning. And so it tells you the rule name, and it tells you what we're going to be typing in the definitions box. Okay, so now in the definition box, we will type in when HTTP underscore request, and this must be capitalized. Then we'll put a squirrely bracket, press enter. All right, if squirrely bracket, and then a square bracket, HTTP ::URI square bracket ends underscore with, and then quotes txt curly bracket, and then curly bracket. Go to the next line, pool, and then the directory. We'll do /common and pool 1. And then next space, we'll do a curly bracket to close, and one more for the final close. And what this says is when an HTTP request comes in, if it ends in txt, it's going to direct it to pool 1. So we'll click finished. And now we'll create a virtual server. So virtual servers, and then create. We'll call this one vs underscore rule underscore txt. IP address will be 10.10.4.102. The port will be port 80. We'll give it an HTTP profile of HTTP. And then we'll assign our iRule to it. So if we scroll down here to iRules, we could scroll down and find the one that we just created. We'll move it over. and then we'll just accept the rest of the defaults, and we'll click Finished. So you probably noticed we didn't assign a pool to this virtual server, but we're going to go ahead and test anyway. So if we open a new browser and we go to http://10.10.4.102, and we'll do a /txt.txt, and we'll press enter. And so the iRule has redirected us to its pool, and here it is. There's a text file that says, hey, this is pretty easy. Okay, we'll try one more. We're going to change text to file, F-I-L-E, .txt, and here it is again. Now we're still on server 1. And we could do one more test, which is take away the file.txt, and let's see what happens. And there it is. It directs us to server 1. And of course, server 1 is the member that we put in for pool 1. Now let's go back to our LTM. We're going to go back to the VS rule txt. And we're going to add a default pool to this. So if we go to resources, and then our default pool, and we're actually going to select pool 3. We'll click update. And now let's go back and test. So let's open our browser. Text.txt first. And let's see what happens. All right, and so it's directing us to server 1 still. We'll try the file.txt. And yes, that one still works. And now we're going to do just the IP address. So we'll erase file.txt. And here we are on server 1. So regardless of what default pool we put in, the iRule is going to take over and override that default pool. So let's go back to the LTM, and we're going to add to the iRule. So we'll go to iRules, and then back to our rule _txt_end. Click on it. We're going to add an else statement. So right underneath the second to the last curly bracket, we're just going to add a space, and we'll do else, give it a space, curly bracket, one more line down, and then pool, and then our directory, which is common /pool, and we're going to use pool 2. Okay, and then we just need to add one more curly bracket at the end to close it out. Scroll down and update. Okay, now let's go back to our browser, and we're going to go back and test. So we're going to start off with the text.txt and see what happens. And so we're still on server 1. We're going to try that file.txt. And it's still on server 1. That still works, just the same as it was before. Okay, and if we just delete the file.txt and just put in the IP address, let's see what happens. And so now it's directing us to server 2, which is pool 2. And you can see how the iRules pretty much override anything that you have in the configuration, which is pretty funny since we have pool 3 selected in the LTM and our virtual servers, and then the virtual server for the iRule. So in our resources, we have only pool 3 selected, but it will never direct us to pool 3 as long as we have the iRule in place. Now we're going to go on to our second iRule. So let's go back to the LTM. And this is going to be a TCP port redirect. So let's click on iRules and let's create a new one. And this is going to be our second iRule here, which is rule TCP port. And here is our definition. So let's go ahead and type that in. So I will use rule underscore TCP underscore port. And then when client underscore accepted, our little squirrely bracket, next line. All right, if squirrely, and then of course the square bracket, TCP, colon, local underscore port, and then we'll do the square bracket, equals 80. So if you guess that's port 80, that is correct. And then squirrely bracket. And then one more to open up a new one. All right, this is going to be pool, and then the directory, which is / common, and then / pool. And we'll use pool 1. Okay. And then our squirrely to close up. And we're going to use an else statement. Else if, curly bracket, square bracket, TCP, colon, local underscore port, square bracket, equals, and this is going to be 443, which is of course HTTPS. And we're going to use pool, our directory, which is common, pool 2. Make sure you close it with 2 squirrely brackets at the end. And yes, I know my syntax is horrible. All right, we'll click finished. Okay, I guess I gotta pay more attention to my typing. All right, I fixed a little mess up, so we'll click finished. Now we'll create a virtual server for this iRule. We'll go to virtual servers and create. This is going to be named VS underscore TCP ports. IP address will be 10.10.4.103, and we're going to use all ports. We need to assign our iRule, so we'll scroll down to iRules, and then our TCP port, we'll move it over. And we're going to assign a default pool of pool 3, and then click finished. And now we'll test. Then we'll open our browser to http://10.10.4.103. Enter. And we're directed to server 1, even though we assigned pool 3, which is, of course, server 3. And now if we test HTTPS, let's see what happens. Put an S here, enter, and we're directed to server 2, which of course is not server 3, which is what our pool is set at. I realize that this is a really quick introduction to iRules. If you'd like to learn more about iRules, F5 has some great websites. You could go to Dev Central, and they have a ton of information, as well as thousands of pre-written rules that you could incorporate into your network. F5's Dev Central has some great resources, like this iRules 101, and it contains several different pages of different topics on the TCL language. So you could just go through here. It gives you examples, and it's a really great way to start learning iRules. You could do debugs, classes, different classes of iRules, and different statements. And this, of course, is all free. And that's it for iRules.